A single touch lasting less than 3 seconds can trigger the release of enough oxytocin to make a woman think about you for the next 48 hours. Yet most men are out here wasting this biological cheat code every single time they hug a woman. They spend months perfecting their opening lines, their wardrobes, and their dating profiles, only to greet a woman with a hug that feels about as romantic as a TSA pat-down. What I'm about to share with you isn't just dating advice, it's pure neuroscience. By the time you finish this, you will know exactly where to place your hands, how long to hold, and the one specific micro-movement that separates a forgettable friend zone hug from the kind she replays in her head until she falls asleep. Research from the Touch Research Institute at the University of Miami has proven that a correctly executed hug can increase trust between two people by up to 47%. Think about that. Nearly half of your trust building can be done in 5 seconds without saying a single word. But here's the problem. Most men treat hugging like a business transaction. They grab, they squeeze, and they release. Today, I am going to show you how to turn your physical presence into an emotional gift. I will walk you through 7 high-intensity touch zones that create instant psychological shifts, including a technique from Stanford University that triggers the same neurological reward as receiving an unexpected gift. If you want to stop being the guy she likes and start being the man she craves, you need to understand that her skin is the most powerful communication tool you've never used. To master the art of the embrace, you first have to understand the hardware you're working with. Human skin contains approximately 5 million touch receptors, but they aren't all the same. There is a specific type of nerve fiber called C-tactile afferents that exists for one purpose only, to respond to slow, gentle touch and stimulate the emotional bonding centers of the brain. These fibers fire most intensely when touch moves at a specific speed, between 3 to 10 centimeters per second. If you move faster, her brain registers it as a functional or chore touch. If you move slower, it can feel creepy. But when you hit that sweet spot during a hug, you are literally bypassing her logical mind and speaking directly to her limbic system, the part of the brain that handles attraction and memory. Most men fail because they are static. They just hold and wait. But a hug that triggers desire is dynamic. It involves intentional movement that lights up these specialized nerve fibers. The first critical zone is the upper back placement. When you hug her, your dominant hand must go flat against her upper back, specifically between the shoulder blades. This area has the highest concentration of emotional touch receptors. Most guys curve their hands or use just their fingertips, which signals nervousness or a lack of presence. A flat, full palm contact communicates warmth and grounded confidence. It makes her feel supported rather than grabbed, but don't make it symmetrical. If you place both hands at the same level, you are giving her a buddy hug. To trigger romantic desire, you must use asymmetric positioning. One hand should be high on the upper back, and the other should be lower, near the waist or mid-back. This creates a containment embrace that signals protection and masculine polarity. It tells her body that you are an anchor she can lean into. Once you are in the hug, you must implement the gentle gather. This is a subtle tightening of the embrace, pulling her just a fraction of an inch closer for a second or two. This small movement tells her subconscious that you are actively choosing her in that moment. It transforms the hug from a passive greeting into an active choice. To amplify this, you need to use respiratory synchronization. Take one slow, deep, audible breath that she can feel against her own chest. When you breathe deeply and calmly, her parasympathetic nervous system will instinctively begin to sync with yours. This creates an immediate feeling of safety and connection. Over 80% of people in intimacy studies report feeling more bonded to partners who display this kind of synchronized breathing. You aren't just holding her, you are making her heart rate match yours. If you have already established a level of comfort, you can move into the more intimate zones, like the temple touch. By resting your cheek or temple against the side of her head during the hug, you turn a body-to-body experience into a complete sensory immersion. This signals that you are not in a hurry to get to the next thing. Presence is one of the most attractive qualities a man can possess, and this gesture is the ultimate proof of it. But the part where most men lose all their progress is the release. They pull away abruptly, which creates a micro-rejection. To prevent this, you must use the release delay. When you feel her start to pull back, wait for exactly 1 more second before you let go. This 1 second delay creates a spike in dopamine because it exceeds her expectations. It makes the hug feel meaningful rather than transactional. As you finally separate, do not just drop your arms. Use the exit touch. Let your hands trail slowly across her shoulders or arms as you pull away. This maintains the connection for an extra moment and softens the transition back to personal space. Most men are first to release, which research shows is perceived as having lower emotional investment. By being the last to let go and using a trailing touch, you are utilizing the Zeigarnik effect, a psychological phenomenon where the brain remembers unfinished experiences more vividly than completed ones. By making the exit slow and lingering, you leave her with a sensory residue that she will continue to feel long after you are gone. Her brain will keep circling back to that unfinished sensation, making her think about you on her drive home and late into the night. You also have to understand that the context of the hug changes the formula. A greeting hug should be slightly more casual, focusing on zones 1 through 3, but the goodbye hug is where you invest everything. Neuroscience tells us that the brain attaches much greater significance to the final physical contact before a separation. This is the hug that encodes your scent into her emotional memory. Your scent bypasses the logical brain and goes straight to the amygdala and hippocampus. If she feels safe, warm, and attracted during that final embrace, her brain will file your scent under those exact emotions. Weeks later, if she catches a trace of your cologne, those feelings of desire will flood back instantly without her even knowing why. You are creating a biological anchor that money cannot buy. The biggest mistake you can make is trying to execute these techniques when she is clearly distracted or in a hurry. A perfectly timed hug requires neurological availability. Wait for a moment when she is looking at you, when the world has slowed down for a second. If you use these rules on a woman who is checking her phone, you are wasting your energy. But when you find that moment of presence and you use the asymmetric hold, the breath sync, and the release delay, you are giving her a neurological gift. Dr. Paul Zak found that hugs lasting at least 20 seconds with supportive back contact trigger the brain's reward centers similarly to receiving an unexpected present. You are literally rewarding her for being in your presence. To integrate this into your life, you have to stop overthinking it. If you look like you're running through a mental checklist, the hug will feel robotic and creepy. You need to practice this until it becomes unconscious competence. Start by focusing on just one zone at a time. Master the flat palm placement first. Then, once that's automatic, add the asymmetric positioning. Within 21 days of intentional practice, these 7 zones will become your default way of interacting. You will notice that women start to linger longer in your arms. You will notice that they lean into you more heavily. You will notice that they seem more enthusiastic about seeing you again. The information is now in your hands, literally. The difference between the men who stay in the friend zone and the men who trigger deep desire is simply the willingness to be intentional in a moment that everyone else ignores. A hug is not just a greeting. It is the most powerful communication tool you possess. It tells her if you are a man of safety, a man of confidence, and a man who is fully present. Now that you have the manual, the question is, will you use it? Tonight or tomorrow, I want you to pick one technique, just one, and apply it. Notice her face when you pull away. Notice if she stays in your personal space for a few seconds longer than usual. You will see the evidence of this science working in real time. But remember, physical touch is a two-way street. Knowing how to hug her is only half the battle. You also need to know what it means when she is the one reaching out. Women often use accidental touches to signal their attraction, and most men walk right past them completely oblivious. I've broken down exactly how to read those signals in my next video, called When She Touches This, It's Not an Accident. If today was about how you speak to her through touch, that video is about how you listen to her. Click it now, and let's finish the conversation.